So let's start. Factorization of quadratic equations. Now, the general form of a quadratic equation, remember we defined the quadratic equation some time back as an equation where the highest power of the unknown is 2. The highest power of x is 2. So this is ax squared plus bx plus c. This is the general form of a quadratic equation. Now, if we tell you to factorize it, listen, we have, when we tell you to factorize the quadratic equation, you first get two numbers. Those numbers, we call them factors. Those numbers, when you multiply them, you get AC, A times C. So first arrange your equation in this form, then the product of the factors which you are going to get is A times C. When you multiply those factors, you get A times C, which is AC. So product of the factors is A times C. Product of the factors is A times C. It is A times C. That will be the product of factors. Then the sum is B, sum of the roots. Roots, they are the ones I'm calling factors. So those numbers should be in such a way that when you multiply them, you get AC, and when you add them, you get B. So we are saying we need to get two numbers such that their sum is B and their product is A times C, which is AC. Then there you have finished. To get the numbers easily, write the factors of AC. Now, if AC, when you get A times C, you get negative, then one of the factors is positive and the other factor is negative. Let us look at examples. Let us look at examples, but I want you to pay attention. This mouse of mine is disturbing me. Factorization. Okay, we are supposed to look at examples. We have our first question here. Factorize x squared plus 10x plus 21. Now this is a quadratic equation. This is a quadratic equation, and the way I have been telling you, when you look at this quadratic equation and you compare it with a x squared plus bx plus c, who can tell me the value of a in this question? Compare this with this. What does that mean? Atamba, what is the value of a here?
1.
Very good. It means that a is 1, such that 1 times x squared will get 1. What is the value of b if you compare this and this?
10.
Very good. And what is the value of c?
21.
21. Thank you. That means in this equation of mine, product of the factors is going to be 1 times 21. 1, which is a, times c, which is 21. So product of the factors is 1 times 21, and the answer is 21. Then sum of the factors is b, which is 10. Now that means we need to get two numbers, which when we add them. When you add those two numbers, you get 10, but when you multiply them, you get 21. That's what it means. So how do we get those numbers? Now, I told you to get the numbers easily, write the factors of AC, where my AC is 21. So to get the numbers easily, you see what I have done aside. I've written the factors of 21. Now, as you write the factors, the first factor is 1. But 1 goes with what? 1 goes with 21. As you can see, 1 times 21. Then the second factor is 3. But 3 goes with which one? It goes with 7. So in these two factors which go together, either 1 and 21 or 3 and 7, when I add them, I get 10, but when I multiply them, I get 21. So those are going to be the factors. The factors should be such that when you multiply them, you get 21, and when you add them, you get 10. So it cannot be 1 and 21, because when you add them, you get 22. But it can be 3 and 7, because 3 plus 7 is 10, which is the sum, and 3 times 7 is 21, which is the product. So my factors are 3 and 7. When I get these factors as 3 and 7, their sum is 10, their product is 21. When I get my factors as 3 and 7, I bring those numbers and put them in place of 10, because 3 plus 7 is equal to 10. Such that I get my equation from here becomes x squared plus, where there is 10, I put there the factors, which are 3 plus 7. So instead of writing 10, I put 3 plus 7 into x plus 21. I open this bracket. It will be x squared plus 3 times x, which is 3x, plus 7 times x, which is 7x, plus 21. Finally, this 21. Yes. Now, after doing that, I join two numbers, this one and this one, and I look for the common factor in these two numbers. In these two numbers, x squared plus 3x, there is a common factor. Can I ask Lisa to tell me the common factor here in x squared and 3x, these two numbers? What is the common factor?
X.
Very good. Thank you, Lisa. It is x. And can I ask Nancy Uvuga to tell me the common factor here between 7x and 21? Which is there a number that is divisible both by 7 and 21?
Just 7.
Very good. Thank you. So we are going to factorize out. So when we factorize out x, who can tell me what we remain with? Someone tell me very fast. When we factorize out x, what do we get? Okay, Arjuna, what do we get when we factorize out x? When we put x outside the bracket? Faster.
You get x into x plus.
Into x plus?
x into x plus 3
Very good.
plus
Then here,
plus 7 into x plus 3.
very good. Thank you so much. So
Come,
we are
teacher.
going to have, when we factorize out x here, we have x into x plus 3. Then here we factorize out 7, we get into, here it will remain 7, then 21 divided by 7 is 3. So this is what we get. Now, when you look at that thing, there is a common factor. You see, on the first expression, there is x plus 3. And even on the second expression, there is x plus 3. So x plus 3 is common. And this is what should always happen when you are factorizing a quadratic equation. If the first thing in bracket is x plus 3, then it is a must automatically. Even the second one should be x plus 3. So if x plus 3 is common, it is here and it is also here. We pull it outside the bracket again. We write 1x plus 3. And when we remove x plus 3 here, it will remain x, which is this. And when we remove x plus 3, it will remain 7, which is this plus 7. So this is the final answer. By getting this, we shall have factorized the quadratic equation as x plus 3 into x plus 7. That has been the first example. If there is a question on the first example, I can take it.
Teacher,
Yes.
so could you repeat the second last part?
This one,
Mm.
I was saying, when you look at this second last part, you realize that there is a number that is appearing on both part of the question, of the expression. Here there is x plus 3, and also here there is x plus 3. So the way we have been doing, x plus 3 becomes a common factor. So we pull it outside the bracket. When we pull out x plus 3, here it will remain x, which is this. And when we pull out x plus 3, here it will remain 7, which is plus 7. So we write 1x plus 3 into x plus 7. And that is the end. And the other important thing is that when you are factorizing, if the first one is x plus 3, then automatically even the other one will be x plus 3. Let us look at example 2. Example 2, we have x squared plus 7x plus 12. Now, the product here, it means there is 1, a is 1. The product of the factors is going to be 1 times 12, which is 12. What's wrong with this thing? The product is 1 times 12, 1 times 12, which is 12, and the sum is 7. Here. So we shall need to get two numbers, which when we multiply them, we get 12, and when we add them, we get 7. But the simplest way to get them, I said, first get the factors of the product, which is 12. So we shall first get the... God, do you have a question?
No, not sure. No.
Mute. So we have the factors of 12. We have 1 and 12. We also have 2, which goes with 6. We also have 3, which goes with 4. So we look for one of these two. Now, in the first case, 1 times 12 is 12, but when you add, you get 13, and the sum is not 7. Here, 2 times 6 is 12, but when you add, you get 8, and the sum is not 7. We go to the next one. 3 with 4. When you multiply, you get 12, and when you add, you get 7. So the factors we are going to use are 3 and 4. Please note, you must use factors which fulfill the two conditions. When you multiply them, you get 12. And when you add them, you should get 7. So the factors are 7 and the factors are 3 and 4. So what do you do to these factors? You come to the equation and you put those factors where there is 7. So instead of writing 7, we shall put there 3 plus 4. And what shall we get? We get x squared. Then where there is 7, we put there 3 plus 4. Please don't come and use 2 plus 6, because 2 plus 6 is not 7. Into x plus 12. Then you open bracket, it becomes x squared plus 3x plus 4x plus 12, as you can see. Yes. So we need it factorized out here. We need to factorize out there. Who can tell us the common factor here? Someone tell us the common factor here.
X.
X.
So what does it become? Complete it. Maturate.
Yes, teacher.
Complete it.
X into brackets. X plus 3, close brackets.
Yes.
Then
Here.
plus 4 into brackets. X plus 12, close brackets.
X plus 12. Remember, you have factorized
No,
out
plus
4.
3.
Yes, x plus 3. Thank you. So here we factorize out x. It becomes x into x plus 3, then plus 4. When you have factorized out 4 here, it will remain x plus 3. And again, you realize that x plus 3 is common. X plus 3 is common. It is here and it is also here. So we again factorize it out and we get x plus 3. Here it will remain x, and here it will remain plus 4. So this is the answer. X plus 3 into x plus 4. Let us look at this also. Now this one is a little bit different because the factors the sum is negative, but it should still be done in the same way. Yes. So we get the product, which is 1 times 8, and it is 8, but the sum this time is negative 6. Our B is negative 6. So the sum is negative 6. Let me first get another pot. My mouse is... So the sum is negative 6. So what do? We get those two numbers. We first write the factors of 8. There is 1, 8. 1 goes with 8. Then 2 goes with 4. Those are the factors of 8. But since sum is negative 6, it means we should get those two numbers should all be negative, such that when you add them, you get negative 6. And when you multiply them, negative times a negative, it becomes positive. So we put those numbers, negative 2 and negative 4, where there is negative 6. Where there is negative 6 now, I'm going to put there those two numbers, which when you multiply them, you get 8, and when you add them, you get negative 6. And those two numbers are negative 2 and negative 4. So I put, a positive followed by a negative is a negative. So I put here a plus x squared plus, it still remains the same thing, negative 2 minus 4 into x, then minus 8. And when I open bracket, it will be x squared minus 2x minus 4x plus 8, such that minus 2x minus 4x is still negative 6x, as you can see. So finally, I factorize. The common factor here is x. So you'll have x into x squared minus 2 when you factorize out x. Then here, minus 4 plus 8. The common factor is 4. So you put minus 4 outside the bracket. What you have at first should be the same as the second. Now, since you have factorized out negative 4, and this is positive, then this one should be a negative, such that negative times negative is positive. So what you have at first should always be equal to what you have at the second time. And x minus 2 becomes a common factor. It is here and it is there. So the answer becomes x minus 2, which is common, into x minus 4. Like that. Any question? So let us also look at that. The common factor here, the product of the factors is 1 times negative 30. Here C is negative 30. 1 times negative 30, the answer is negative 30. And the sum is negative 1. What does that mean? We need two numbers, which when you multiply, you get negative 30. And to get negative 30, it means one number should be a positive and the other one should be a negative. That is the condition for getting negative product. So factors of 30, when I write them, there is 1 which goes with 30. There is 2 which goes with 15. There is 3 which goes with 10. 5 goes with 6. So you find which of these two, when you make one a negative and you add them, which one is likely to give you a sum of negative 1? And the answer is here. It is 5 and 6. When you make one of them a negative and one of them a positive, since it is negative 1 sum, it means it should be 6, which is negative, and it should be 5, which is positive. So the factors are going to be negative 6 and 5. And then you put them here. Where there is negative 6, it becomes x squared plus negative 6 plus 5. I'm going to give you a chance because time is over. We are going to use the next like 5 minutes to 10 minutes. So let us rejoin. Let us rejoin because I know there could be questions here. Let us rejoin and you ask questions here if they are there. So just rejoin. Let me stop this meeting and you just rejoin. Just rejoin, please. Rejoin.